Hey, this is Seb. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to focus on the camera modification for Arma 3. And one could argue that the most important tool of filmmaking is the camera itself. And in Arma there are a few different ways to go about creating machinima or cinematic footage. So today we're going to look at how to achieve this look with a camera modification known as gcam. If you're a subscriber of mine, you know that I use gcam for most of my projects. But what is gcam? Well, gcam is simply an alternate to the built-in Splendid camera and has a few different functions that makes it very useful when you're creating videos. The full name, Gcam Cinematic Camera, was created by a guy called Gigan way back in the days in 2010 with Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead. But it got really popular when they ported it over to the Arma 3 workshop. So what does gcam do and why use it over the Splendid camera? There's three reasons. Number one, it has really smooth camera movement. Number two, it has camera functions that's known as follow, behind and focus. And number three, it's really easy to use and control the camera. So how do you activate the camera? In the game, you can use your action menu on your scroll wheel and select the camera from the action menu. If that doesn't work, however, you can launch the mod with this command through the debug console. I'll show it here on screen, and we'll also be able to find it in the description. The camera controls are as follows. You use the mouse to look around. You use WASD plus 2 to move around. Q is up, set is down. Bravo, it toggles the behind mode. Charlie toggles the focus mode. Foxtrot toggles the follow mode. November to switch between normal, night and thermal vision modes. Victor to change camera view between first, third person, variable view and gcam view. Left mouse while looking at another player. You do that to switch targets. And Tango to change the fire trigger selector. You can also press L to open and hide the HUD or the list view. From the list view, you can use WASD to move. You use left mouse, click and hold to drag the viewport around. On the left hand side you have a small search map. You can drag to enlarge or make it smaller. You can right click and hold to drag the map around. Left click once to scan for units or groups, and you can left click on the unit markers to select the target that you want to track. On the right hand side you have the question mark or the help marker. This will give you all of the controls as I previously mentioned. Here you also have the time control or time acceleration. You can accelerate up to the value of 4 to really speed things up, and all the way down to 0, and that will freeze time completely. But be aware, if you put it to 0, the camera itself gets a little clunky to control. Underneath this you have also the viewport selector for different views. To the left of that you have a very useless trigger option that I rarely use, but I'm sure it's useful for someone. Underneath here you have the important camera functions, the follow, behind and focus. It's learning how to utilize these that are important and which ones you can combine to create creative footage. On the bottom of this you have a unit list that you can select targets to track. So how do you use the functions? So follow. When applying the follow, the camera will share the same speed as the object you have selected to track. You're free to move the camera around and through the object, and this is very useful when you're tracking anything that's moving at higher speeds like planes or vehicles. You also have the behind mode, which makes the object you're tracking a center point, and you can move the camera in a circle around the object, but you cannot move the camera through the target itself. when you're using focus, focus will simply make your camera focus and track the object you have selected. This is useful when the object is moving but not at such a high pace that it requires you to have the follow function enabled. And lastly, you can use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. If you enable all the camera functions and you create some distance between yourself and the object by moving the camera away with S and then zoom in, the camera movement will be a lot slower and therefore smoother. So when you're panning left and right, you're going to be having a lot more smooth movement. You're able to use unit capture or triggers or animations while inside of Gcam. Just open the debug console and paste the animation you want to play. This way you don't have to set the camera after the animation has started playing. To get panoramic overviews, you can use slow motion, like 0.5 value, and only enable follow. Do this from a plane or helicopter that has waypoints. You zoom in and capture what you like. This also works for ground units if you want to use them as simple camera paths. You can also check out this video I made earlier about camera movement itself. It uses Gcam. Other than that, I hope you subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and on YouTube in general. I hope you liked this tutorial. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.